This week I wanted to talk about some more of my favorite books. I know I've expressed my feelings about classic literature and literary canon over in my blog, and I still feel pretty much the same way. Basically, don't force yourself to read something that doesn't interest you. Escapism is not a bad word, and I feel like there are things that are considered literary canon and classics that are just as good as like young adult books, because what matters is what they make you feel. Still, there are some classics that I enjoyed a lot and that I'd like to share in this video. First up, I have this book, which is Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. Vonnegut is one of my favorite writers in general. His writing is really funny, but it's also something that kind of takes a specific kind of person to read, because not everyone finds his stuff funny, because it's not like laugh out loud funny. It's just kind of, he weaves it in to his writing. It's not serious, but it talks about serious issues. So this book, for example, is about World War II, but there's also like time travel and weird stuff included, so it's not just like boring about the war, but he kind of mixes it up and makes it his own. But yeah, Vonnegut is really easy to read classics if you're interested at all. Second book is this one, which probably you can't tell very much what it says because it's all blacked out, but it's 1984 by George Orwell. I know this is probably a staple in everyone's classic literature favorites if you have read it, because it's really interesting. The world that Orwell builds is a classic for a reason, and it was dystopian fiction before the word dystopia got synonymous with teenage heroes and love triangles and just kind of muddled up. So if you're into dystopias but you don't want to kind of dip your toes into that pool, then this is a really good read. Another book I'd suggest if you really like 1984 is High Rise by J.G. Ballard. It recently became a movie, and that's how I heard about it, and then I read the book before I went to see the movie. Both of these books have really interesting thoughts about humanity and how humans would react and act in specific situations. So if dystopia at all interests you, then I'd definitely read this or High Rise. Last but not least, I have this, which is Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. I know it's kind of weird for me to include this because I know a lot of people don't see it as classic in terms of like 1984 or Catcher in the Rye, but I think that J.R.R. Tolkien is fantasy classic, so you could definitely put him up there on the list. It took me 10 years to read this book, and half of my life has been spent being a huge fan of Tolkien and his world, so it was really cool for me to finally be able to kind of read the book and get into that world even more, because up till about a few months ago I had only seen the movies. So it's nice to have more material from a world you like, because the book obviously has more stuff than the movie. Feel free to suggest me any books that you really like that are also considered classic literature. People see classic literature as being just like this all-encompassing genre that means boring old literature, but really it's classic for a reason. Like, a lot of it has really good insights into humanity. And I tried reading Catcher in the Rye. It was boring. I didn't really like it. I might try again sometime. But the point is, don't force yourself to read it, and if you don't like it, it doesn't matter, because no one's the classic literature police. No one's gonna be like, you haven't read Catcher in the Rye, you're a poor human being. That's not gonna happen. But yeah, enjoy any books that you're currently reading or about to read, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! My battery is running out. Like, I need to do this so fast.